Communication, coordination, collaboration and consummation. That's the basic lay of the land for those of you hoping to bring your ideas to an interactive sphere and further into reality. Beyond that, we have the concerns of coherence and convergence. In the reflections that follow, we intersect the fields of communications theory, systems thinking, etc. However, this is not primarily directed to organizational change practitioners, complex system modelers, what have you. Rather, it is directed to cognitive change practitioners, conscious system modelers, etc. with an understanding that all of our complexities, the systems, the models, the processes in the world out there are reflections of our patterns of consciousness. The gears of our cognition give birth to all that be in the models out there. Let us reel it back in and get into organizing our awareness into a coherent whole that is seamlessly interactive. Then into the four interactive concern domains, the elemental shapers and movers of our operations. Communication. Yes, we do need to shape what is into a symbolic expression that we can deliver to others, sharing our perceptions. Let this sharing be true to actuality, free of our cognitive bias and adapted to the audience we interact with. Then coordination. I have surfaced my platform, my foundation, through my communication, and you have your inputs and the others have their inputs. We begin to weave them together, adapt to each other. We begin to coordinate what we are and what we bring to the table. Then and only then, collaboration. We can hardly collaborate without knowing each other's foundations, without having adjusted to each other's requirements and potentials. The evaluation of fixed and mutable premises, what we work with into a coherent model of interaction, collaboration that leads to harmonic, well-rounded yields and minimal side effects to each of the stakeholders and the environment the collaborative process impacts. And then into consummation, the culmination of our collaboration stemming from our coordinated efforts and presence rooted in our foundations that surfaced via clear communication through to our actualities. If any one of the preceding steps was at error, was warped, twisted, manipulated with a particular subjective agenda, the culmination too will be warped, twisted, and consummation of our system as a whole, our living collective as a whole, is hardly a possibility. Not even individual culmination or consummation is possible with flawed premises that have been distorted from a core of necessary balance. With this in mind, we hold on tight to the top-level principle of coherence. What is coherence? Coherence is first the perception of actuality, objective truth, what is without our meddlings. Then the reconciliation of the aspects of what are recognized, their bringing together into a consistent whole. Internally consistent with actuality out there, as in logical and empirical consistence. Coherent communication. First, coherence in your thoughts in themselves. Then their coherent formation into paragraphs, the grouping of those paragraphs under headings and under a top-level heading, actual field of communication, an interrelated loom of concepts, of observations that you wish to convey, a starting point, not ephemeral mind streams, not compiling your observations on the fly, not these ragged doom tunnels that people enter into with hopes of accomplishing communication. It does not compile into anything at all. Not unless we extract the essential value, the merits from these tunnels and uplift them into a pool of patterns, essence that we need to be getting back to in order to build up toward something. We coordinate our communications as a collaborative effort toward the culmination and consummation of our interactions, all resting on coherence. So please, coherence. And convergence then is largely self-emergent. Yes, we may open the pathways for bringing our respective fields of coherence into a nexus of synchronization, where our respective weaves are woven together into a master loom, an umbrella that covers the essence of all of our cognitive fields. But for convergence to be possible, we need to reduce the noise, we need to up the signal unto ourselves, into the shared field and into the whole of what we weave together. The clear coherence we bring to the table in our self-reflection, in actuality reflection, is the difference between us building up a fomenting landfill with weird odors decomposing and us creating a systemic palace in the dome of our skies. Then, as we have lofty ideas, inspirations, let us, guided by the principle of coherence and the objective of convergence, pass through our phases of communication, coordination, collaboration and consummation coherently, mindfully, aware that we are weaving together a field of collective knowledge and insight commons for the benefit, the reconciliation, the harmonization of the system as a whole, the system of what we are together, the system of us as organisms on this living planet, existence as a whole, harmonized through coherence, through convergence. Unto yourself, in your inner world of countless concerned domains, in a neat tree of abstraction, understanding of top-level and specific contextual concerns, well organized internally, alignment, and then with this alignment into the interactive field with others who hopefully undergo a similar process of inner organization and alignment. With that, we have hope. Without that, it's a messy pile, a bunch of fog veiling the skies. So refine that ore, churn that cauldron, let essence boil to the surface, and that essence we share and we build something greater than any of us. Together, in a single expression, the coherent convergence of distilled essence, foundations surfaced in communication, coordination in our adaptive reflections, the collaborative transformation of all that we have into the consummate culmination of a harmonic system, integrating the clearest essence from each node in our collective. So maybe we can take all of this into account and build up toward something greater, rather than pouring our essence into these ephemeral tunnels of doom and oblivion on the mainstream platforms. Do not scatter your seeds into barren fields. Invest your essence to where it may actually thrive.